welcome to the Grown Up Group. This is a podcast where we discuss topics and issues that face the Black community. Let's get into it. This is Joe, as well as I'm Ty. So we're going to have this conversation because it's something I feel is a huge miss within our community. One of our children go missing. There's so many different propagandas behind it. They feel that the Black community, like, the police doesn't work in their behalf. And Joe being an ex-officer, a retired, my apologies, a retired
Retired,
officer
yeah.
retired officer. He's, worked the cases. He knows the going ons of what happens behind the scenes. And he's going to give us some insight on that as well as give us his perspective on how the whole missing and exploited children thing goes. So let's delve into our questions. So my first question I have for you, Joe, is how long do you have to wait to report your child? Because I think this is a huge misconception in the community. We have to think
Right.
24 hours to a whole week. Like, what is the difference?
Yeah. Well, when it comes to, and I use the term juveniles, anyone under 18,
Mm,
when it comes to children, usually immediately there's a response and actions are taking place. So if you report a 14-year-old missing at 7:45, at 7:46, we're in action.
okay.
Okay. So, that is the case. Now, when it comes to adults, yeah, it is a 24-hour waiting period because, again, adults can be adults and do adult things.
Yeah.
As an adult, I don't have to tell you that I'm not coming home tonight. I don't have to tell you I'm spending the night with a friend or something more than that. But when it
Mm,
comes to children, it's different because of the constraints that we have to place on children.
okay.
So that's why we usually when it comes to juveniles, the response is immediate
Yeah.
and it's
Oh,
hard pressed. Yeah.
thank you for adding that because I did have that as my next question, the difference between juvenile and adults. And you
Hmm.
just clarified that for me. So at the age of, what is it, 18, they're
Yes.
considered younger is juvenile. And then 18 and over is adults. Is that
Right.
safe to say?
When it
Okay.
comes to missing children, yes, it is.
Missing
Because
children.
again, as an 18, 19-year-old, okay, yeah, I may be still living home with mom and dad, or I may be, but again, I'm an adult. I don't have to tell you that I'm spending the night with old girl or old boy, or,
Yeah.
or I
Yeah.
may feel like, what? I ain't calling my mom and dad and telling them I'm staying at this party till 4 in the morning when I told them I'll be home at 11, so
Yeah.
there's those things. But one thing I will stress is that me personally, when it came to those younger adults, those 18 and 19-year-olds,
Hmm.
I would often tell parents, I would say, listen, technically your child's an adult and he doesn't have to tell you he or she is not coming home. But I would
Hmm.
say, if they don't call you within the next 2 or 3 hours, let me know, and me personally, because again, I have children
Right.
and, I have two kids that are over 18, but when they were 18, to me, they weren't adults. They were still my babies.
Yes. They always are babies.
Yeah,
Like
so
adult
if
children,
my
they're
kid
my
wasn't
babies.
home, if I told you at 18, you better be in my house by midnight, and come 12:15, you're not here. I'm on the warpath. So I understand how parents can say, "Hey, listen, I know they're 18, but they're only 18." So me personally, I'm sorry. Listen, if they don't get in touch with you within the next 45 minutes, let me know. And me personally, I would start the ball rolling. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? But technically, yeah, once they're over 18, it's 24 hours.
Mm. Thank you for that. What are the next steps? So I know a lot of people come in, they make the report, and then they're like, the police did nothing. They're not, reaching out to us. They're not talking to us. They're not telling
Mhm.
us anything. Could you explain what the process is once you report a child missing and that time frame? Give me like a kind of like an open timeline, if you could, simply because, I know the people in the audience need to know because that seems to be a big miss to us. We immediately think because you're not in our face 24/7 and calling us and telling us an updated, you're looking here and
Mhm.
looking there, that
Mhm.
nothing's happening. You're not doing anything to help me. You're doing nothing. That's
Right.
the heavy criticism
Yeah.
that we have. Like is nothing's happening because I didn't hear anything from them.
Exactly. And see, and again, I understand when you have a child that's missing, 11, 12, 13-year-old that's missing, and you report it to the police, and we
Mhm.
tell you, okay, we're going to get on this immediately. And you don't, and now that's the last you hear from me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just because you don't hear from me, and I get it. People say, well, I haven't heard from this detective in 12 hours, and I told him, and they're not telling me anything. First thing people have to understand is that just because you don't see it happening, don't mean it's not happening.
That-
Okay. So, as investigators, the first thing we're going to do, we're going to ask you a lot of stupid questions. And I
mhm.
say that because, the parents in that particular, they see them as stupid,
Yeah.
but they're not. So I'm going, so we'll ask you things like, Well, what do they do after school? Who's their best friend? Why are you asking me about their friend? This is my child. Because these are things that we need to know.
Yeah.
Because you don't see it happening. Okay, fine. Your daughter hangs out with little Melissa. Okay, I'm asking, well, where does Melissa live? Well, she's not there. I already called her mother. She's not there. Okay, well, I don't want to talk to Melissa's mother. I want to go and talk to Melissa. What
Oh.
did your daughter tell Melissa
Mhm.
that Melissa is scared to tell everybody else? I need to find that out.
Yeah.
Because kids
Because kids
confide in
cover
each
for
other.
each other. Oh,
Yes,
that's what
and
I was
they
gonna
cover
say.
for
Kids
each other.
cover.
So,
Yeah.
those are the things that's what I need to know. Who are the kids that she hangs out with outside of school? Who does he or she have play dates with?
Yeah.
Who's her favorite aunt? Who's her favorite uncle?
Mm.
So the what my brother hasn't spoken to my daughter in 3 4 that you know of.
Mm.
So we're doing all of these things that seem fruitless and stupid. And then you have to understand we have technological resources as well.
Mhm.
That okay, yeah, you don't see us walking through the park and walking through fields, but we're on VICAP. We're talking to the Center for Missing and Exploited Children. We're doing
Mhm.
things behind the scenes. And what makes it even worse is that if we have a suspect in mind, you know, parents get, "Oh, shouldn't you be talking to this person? This is what I think. Okay, thank you for telling me that. A day later, I gave you Joe Blow's name. Well, what are you doing about that, ma'am? We're investigating the matter. So I can't tell you what we're doing
Mm.
because me telling
Sure.
you jeopardizes what may happen down the line.
Right.
So if
Right.
I tell you, yeah, well, we got Joe Blow here sitting in an interview room, and we're drilling him now, and we're getting information. Okay, now let's say at that point I don't have enough to keep Joe Blow. I gotta let him go.
Yeah.
Now that doesn't mean that I don't have people watching everything he does. Now I told you, yeah, I had to let him go. Now, you as a parent, you're emotional and you're passionate. Now, what if you go and beat the hell out of Joe Blow? Now, you
Yeah.
just jeopardize everything we had against him. So when it goes to court, anything we had against Joe Blow gets thrown out. Why? Because I told you things.
Right. Oh,
And
wow.
this is why I tell,
That's really
I
good to know.
understand parents get frustrated, but we
Yeah.
don't tell you things because we play the long game
Mm.
as investigators. That's our job.
Right.
Arrest, yeah, that's nice. We want convictions.
Mm.
We want people to pay. So we play the long games. You want to be mad at me? You want to curse me out? You want to say I'm not doing shit? That's fine.
Right.
But I know what I'm doing right now, even though it's pissing you off, I am making sure that the person responsible is going to pay down the line.
Mm.
I've been cursed out. I've been called lazy. I've been called to do nothing.
That's
I've been
exactly
called,
why I said it because I see these
mm-hmm,
missing cases. I mean, I'm not even the parent, and I'm like, what's happening? Like, how do we not know what's the latest update? I
yeah,
look through the flyers, I go to look to the found page, I'm looking to see if they were found, located, whatever the case may be, and you just don't see the information. And I think because it's not
yeah,
visible, it's not right there in front of our face, so we're not able to pick up the phone and say,
then
"Hey,
it's not
Joe, what's going
happening.
on? Officer Joe, what's going on with this?" Like they think nothing's happening. Exactly. Like, oh, another number of a missing child, and
Yeah.
I also wanted to talk to you because I know you gave me the steps of, you guys are right there on it and just starting the case once the report is filed.
Mm-hmm.
But like, what advice would you give the audience, like the people listening to this? Like, if they had a missing child, or a juvenile or adult, like, if you have someone missing, what advice would you give them?
Well, the reality of the situation is no parent is going to sit on their hands while their child is missing. And as investigators, we understand that. We get that.
Yeah.
You're not going to just sit home and wait. You're going to be proactive. You're going to go out and do anything that you need to do. And the one thing I tell people, I say, listen, I understand. I have children. And I know you're not just going to sit on your sofa and wait for my phone call.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't control you doing that. But what
Right.
I will say, anything you find out, any information, even if you think it's insignificant,
Yeah.
tell them.
Mm.
Tell your investigators. Tell them everything. Well, what did your daughter? My daughter would come home and she finished her homework, and right after dinner, she's on that goddamn Minecraft game. Oh, really? How long does she play? All night long. But that's not the point. No, 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 no. I need to know about that.
Yeah, because she might be tracked. She might be chatting with somebody or like
Yeah.
on a headset with somebody,
What's her
communicating.
screen name? Get me into
Yeah.
her PlayStation. Get me into her laptop. I need to know. So anything that you think is insignificant is stuff that we want to know. Listen, look, I would wear out notebooks like you wouldn't believe. Because everything you tell me, yeah, she had on one blue sock and one blue sock, one red sock. All of these things, I would say anything, even no matter how insignificant you think it is, tell.
Right, right.
And if you have information, you call that investigator every hour if you get something new every hour. Do that.
I'm happy you brought up technology because I was going to ask, why does it take so long for them to track cell phones and GPS and tracking? I know such things like Google, everything is a tracking on your phone, especially if you have a cell phone or a laptop. You take a device anywhere, you have that Find Me app, you got the things that, can work to help the investigation. Why does it take so long for officers to get that respect, to get that information right away from those companies? Like, I know it's a lot of consent things, but it's also, this is, hindering or may hinder the case. So why be in our way? Like, why not release it faster? I hear that it takes months to get that information back.
It can.
You know how far a child could be gone for a month? If, they could be in another country by a month, So that's one of the things that concerned me. And in research that I was doing, I was like, what in the world? Why take so long?
Well, here's the thing, because cell phone carriers are better than social media companies when it comes to getting information. Because social media sites, all they have in mind is the protection of themselves and their customers. So they're very hesitant about giving us information. And again, we go in with subpoenas.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So when we send a subpoena to a social media site, hey, we need this, that, and the third on this person's account. They always counter with their legal mumbo jumbo.
Oh.
And that's what takes long. It's not the police. Because look, if you tell me your child is missing at 3:00, by 4:00, I can have a subpoena for TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat. Listen, it takes literally a minute to write up a subpoena and send it.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
It doesn't take long.
Know that. No, I didn't know that it took that fast. I didn't know that. So it was
because we have a blanket form that all we do is change the names and the dates.
Okay.
And once we get that, and every one of these companies has what they call a subpoena compliance department. And that is who we specifically send the subpoenas to. So we already know what email address to send it to, and or what number to fax, because a lot of them still use faxes for subpoena compliance.
Oh, wow.
Believe it or not. Yeah.
Wow. That's
so
surprising.
We already know.
We ain't in 1980s. Like, why are they using fax machines instead of using modern technology? Emails.
Some of them do.
Probably scanning emails. Like, what in the world? Wow.
Yeah. Oh, and so we already. So within minutes, we know. So it's like, oh, Verizon. Okay, I gotta email it to blah blah blah. So we already know where it's going, who to send it to. Because again, a subpoena, I can get a subpoena in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
That's the easy part. Now, cell phone carriers tend to be a bit more accommodating.
Okay.
So if I say, hey, listen, I need this cell phone number, I need the call records for the password, you can subpoena the one cell phone carrier, rhymes with Horizon. For instance, I would send them a subpoena at 9:00. By lunchtime, they would send me everything I needed.
Oh, that's amazing. That's the time I'm looking for, because
they were great.
3 hours, we could catch. Oh boy. You know what I mean? We could catch them in the next state.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. Now, my logic went straight to how much time is wasted, because then now we have to find out how far could you go in east, west, and north in order to capture, what a communication was with the last ping from
so they were great. And see, and then there's another thing. Now, let's just say, well, where's the last place your child was seen? Oh, they were seen by that McDonald's down there by Springfield Avenue and 21st Street. Okay. So now what I got to do, are you sure that's, yeah, because that's where she always catches the bus. Okay, fine. So what we do is there's nothing, it's called a tower dump.
Okay.
So what a tower dump is that, let's just say that we know a particular person was in this area at this particular time, but we don't know their phone number. We don't know what cell phone carrier they got. So what we would do is we would find out who owns that tower. Is it T-Mobile? Is it Verizon? Is it AT&T?
Yeah.
The good thing is now is that a lot of these cell phone carriers, they share towers.
Yeah.
So if Verizon owns a tower, they will lease it to T-Mobile and AT&T.
I didn't know that. Wow. I
Yeah,
thought they
yeah.
all were independently owned by each, company because, and that's crazy because you see the commercials where they're like,
Mhm.
talking about each
They
other,
say
talking
we
past each
got
other,
yeah,
but they
like
share.
for instance,
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Well,
Oh,
T-Mobile owns more cell phone towers in this country than any other carrier.
oh, wow. Mm.
So in order for other carriers to want to expand their coverage, they'd have
Mhm.
to talk to T-Mobile or build towers in that area.
Yeah.
And what they realize is that it's cheaper for us to lease from T-Mobile than it is to build a tower.
Oh, yeah, yeah, that makes sense.
So yeah. So let's just say that there was a guy on the cell phone over here that looks suspicious. So now we got to find out what tower connects to that corner where that person was at.
Hmm.
He was there, I don't know, probably from like midnight to around 12:30. So now from midnight to 12:30, we want every phone call
Mm.
that bounced off that tower.
Oh, I'm happy you said that because that was my next question I was going to ask. Is it a way to track where your multiple devices is in an area? And then how would you uniquely identify that is a different cell phone than, I guess, the cell phone that was in that
Right.
person's care? So, I mean, yeah, speak to me on that. That was like, really, I was going to ask that. I was going to say, how would
Yeah.
you difference between the two? But yeah.
Let me tell you something. When a detective hears from their sergeant or lieutenant, well, you know what? Do a tower dump. We just go, oh shit, not the tower dump. We
Oh,
know it's necessary,
oh,
but
wow.
we're like, oh
Massive.
my God. Because we're going to say, hey, T-Mobile, can you give us every call that bounced off this tower between 11:59 and 12:22 a.m. on March 13th, 2026?
Mm,
T-Mobile's going to say, okay, no problem.
right.
And the next thing I know, when I come in the next day, I have an email with 26 pages of cell phone numbers.
Wow. So then it's digging through that and seeing who the people are, and then if they're connected
Exactly.
to the individual and how they're connected to the individual. Did they go to the same school? Were they hanging out at the same
Right.
location? If they turned their cell phone off, did it ping to that same location that that individual cell phone pinged to?
Exactly.
Thing when I watch a lot of ID and murder mysteries. Of
Yeah.
course, you know how that goes, but
Mhm.
we love these things. We love to
Yeah.
investigate it. But something in us that be like, we got to get to the answer. And in watching some of these cases, I see that when a person turns their cell phone off, that last ping is sometimes how they catch them. And I'm like, oh,
Exactly.
you're in the middle of a swamp. You just turn your cell phone off before you even drive that
Hmm.
way. And they're like, oh, we still have your tracking GPS information because you pinged here and we
You
know that
pinged
you
off this
were 10 miles
tower.
right. And they're like, you went out, you
Exactly.
didn't go outside that perimeter of that tower. And I'm like, wow, I'm always so amazed how they catch the
Hmm.
individual. But in regards to missing children, there's a couple of things that I'm gonna throw out there. I'm gonna throw a
Sure.
question out there and I'm gonna give statements and I want to hear your feedback on it. So what is some of the biggest misconception people have about missing Black men and women? And then I said not reporting runaways, or they're reporting them, but they have to be a runaway immediately because it's a minor or juvenile. They may say, oh, you know what? They're a runaway. They're a troubled child. May have a record, little antics that they got into,
Hmm. Hmm.
criminal record of like spray painting a wall, etc. But now they're missing, and now the conception is, oh, we're not, we don't need to report them because they're runaways, or gang affiliation. That's another one. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's sad because especially when you come across a parent or a guardian who says, "Yeah, my son, he's 13 and he's gone missing." And
Mhm.
then the very next question is, "Well, has he ever done this before?" Well, yeah, he ran away once before.
Yeah,
And and sadly, some, not all,
right.
but
Yeah,
some officers immediately their mind goes to, this is just another damn runaway. All right.
yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's why
And then they make out the report and they says, yeah, this child has been known to do this before.
yeah.
So now automatically the misconception is, or the conception is that, oh, this is just another runaway. We're just going to take this case and just sit it up here on the shelf. They'll be home tomorrow or 2 nights later.
Yeah. What do you think?
And
Oh, so sorry. Go ahead. My
and
apologies.
and and to me, and again, me, I was very dogged about kids. So I kind of, and I even had one of my lieutenants told me, look, you're wasting resources. And I never forget this. I had a back and forth with my lieutenant because he told me I was wasting resources on a kid that has ran away twice before.
Mm.
And I was like, okay, fine. He ran away twice before, but that doesn't mean, he's running away again. I got this, I got that. This doesn't match the last 2 times. The long and short of it was, in the end, I was right.
Okay.
I
Wow.
was right.
Wow.
And he didn't run away. His father actually kidnapped him because his
Oh,
father
wow.
had just gotten out of prison and wanted to see his son. And the mother was like, well, no, not yet, this and that. So the father actually caught the kid out of school and,
Mm.
hey, I miss you, son, blah, blah, blah. Put the kid in the car and drove him all the way down to Georgia, which is where the kid was found.
Wow. So as a parent, and that's one of the things I have as one of the misconception as well. A parent kidnapping a child, but this is my child. Speak to me about that law because I'm happy you brought that case up. That's like phenomenal because it's like you're in my notes right now, reading my next question. It's the very next question of what are the thoughts when it's a parent, and I'm like, this is my child. I have a right to my child. What is that?
Well, here's the thing about that.
I'm like, what
Did
is
you
that?
know? Check this out.
Mhm.
In New Jersey and in a lot of states now, if you and your co-parent are not married, you're not together, you live in separate lives, but you have the child together.
Yeah.
Now, if I see my son or my daughter in the playground or in the basketball court after school or whatever, and I say, hey, come on, let's go get some McDonald's. Hey, come on, you want to stay tonight with me at my house? And the kid's like, yeah, I want to stay tonight with you, Pop. Yes, I do. And the kid spends the night at my house. Now, the mother is like, where the fuck is my child? They were supposed to come home from the playground at
Yeah.
7. It's now 10 o'clock. I'm calling the police. They call the police. Oh, and then the kid calls, yeah, I'm with daddy. My child's father kidnapped her without my consent.
Mm.
If you don't have court ordered custody,
Oh, court
that
order.
parent cannot kidnap their own child.
Court order. That's the key word. So if you don't have a custody case,
If you don't
I'm the
have a
dad
custody, if you don't
here
have a
that came
custody
back 20
agreement,
years later.
yeah.
Yeah,
If
that's
you don't have a
crazy.
custody agreement and you admit that he is the father, and I say yes, I am the father of this child,
Yeah.
I have the right to take that child from the playground just like you do.
Thank you. Because I was so concerned about that because I was
Mm-hmm,
curious. And a lot of missing cases, I see the Amber Alerts, of course, not for Black children,
mm-hmm.
but I see the Amber Alert go off and I'm like, okay, they say with the father, but it says in danger. And I was like, why is their father? Do they have a previous history of violence? Like, what is it? Why do you see it in some cases where they'll identify that a parent did take a child? Those are the cases that I have court orders that have that association of it.
Yes, yes. If
Okay.
there's a court order that says this is a custodial parent, meaning that this parent is the one under whose roof that child lives,
Yeah.
okay? And you, as the mother or father, you only get him or her every other weekend and every Tuesday after school. If you have this child outside of those constrictions, then guess what? You've kidnapped this child because you violated this court order.
And that's how they'll take it as, right?
That's how it is. It will be seen by the legal system.
Okay.
But if we're just two people that had a child, we never went to court to establish custody. We don't have a child support arrangement. We got none of that. And I decide I want to pick up my son or my daughter from the playground or from Susie's house and have him or her come spend the night with me. And yeah, I'll bring her back tomorrow morning so you can take her to school. And I get there and the cops are waiting. They're going
Mm-hmm.
to say, sir, you kidnapped this child? I'm going to say no. I picked up my daughter from the fucking playground and she wanted to spend the night with me. They're
Yeah.
going to say, did he force you to go? No, I wanted to go spend the night with my dad.
Right.
Okay, well, ma'am, let us see the custody agreement that says he can't. Oh, I don't have a custody agreement. You don't have a court order with visitation or custody? Oh, no. Oh, well, ma'am, he has every right to this child as you do in that case.
Right. Okay. Wow. Do you
Mhm.
see that happen a lot? Is that a lot of like most cases with a juvenile?
I've had a couple of cases like that.
Okay.
I had a case where a kid just, he was, he would go spend time with his dad. Him and his mother and father weren't together. He would go spend time with his dad. This one particular night, he was like, "Yeah, Pop, can I just spend a night here with you?" And the father, of course, was like, "Yeah." And the child said, "Well, can you call mom and say I'll be here?"
Okay.
The father, knowing that the mother would have a problem with that,
Mm.
didn't call.
Yeah, because he's like, I know him get rejected.
Right.
It's kind of an argument, of course.
Yeah. And what he didn't understand is that she can't make you bring the child home. You can
Mm.
call her and say, "Hey, Junior's here with me." She can fuss, hoot, and holler all she wants, but you're under no legal obligation to bring that child to her.
So even if she called the police and said, "Hey, he took my daughter," blah blah blah,
And he
it's
just
shared
called me and
custody
said
if
that
you don't
he's
have
there
that
and
court order.
he won't bring my child home.
Mm-hmm.
First thing the cops are gonna say, "Well, do you have a custody agreement?" Well,
Mm-hmm.
no, we don't have none of that. Well, quite frankly, ma'am, unless you tell us that he or she is in danger of harming your child, we have nothing.
Thank you for clarifying that. You're gonna have a
Yeah.
lot of young black men
Mhm.
and a lot of men that have probably went through that instance or probably nervous
Oh,
to go
absolutely.
child, not knowing that it's a court order that really specifies what the conditions are. If you don't have that, then
Hmm.
you have free will. So go visit your children. That's one of
Yeah.
the things that's really important. I always say mothers and fathers equally are important in children's lives. So yeah, why create this whole mass disaster if you don't have to, this chaos that's unnecessary. I wanted to also ask you about it not being televised or enough publicity when it comes to young black children and men that are missing. No Amber Alerts really for minorities. I don't really see them go out. When I do, it's a little Susie or her father that's
Of
estranged,
course.
whatever the case may be. But you don't see it often for minority black men, women, and children, and none of us. We don't see the news media, and it's crazy. There's so many instances. I think the woman Natalie, she disappeared in Bahamas, and I was like, why
Oh,
are we
Aruba. Yeah.
televised? Yeah,
Natalie,
yeah,
Natalie
Aruba.
Holloway.
Oh, thank
Again,
you,
this
Aruba.
girl went missing in another country.
Yes, and we were watching every second of
And
it
it was all over the news
everywhere
here.
on 2020 Dateline, you name it, they had it on the TV.
Oh,
The news, the local
absolutely.
news. And I'm like,
Absolutely.
New Jersey, New York, PA, well, tri-state area. Like, why am I watching Natalie that got kidnapped in Aruba or
And
missing
she's
in
not
Aruba?
even from here. She was from
Yeah,
Alabama.
yeah, yeah, yep. They had it
Why do
every
we know about
televised.
this why are we hearing about this in the tri-state area every day?
But I always wondered if it was that me as a parent, I could throw money at the problem. I know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody, and I'm gonna get my kids information out there because I think that it does come down to connections, right?
It
Um,
absolutely does.
a
It,
large
it
part
absolutely
comes
does.
with connection. I know the mayor, he's going to get it out there. They're going to televise it's going to make it public. And for us, minorities, we go to social media sites. Like we go to Facebook, we go to Instagram, we go to the social media sites and we post our banners and our kids' pictures and we say missing. And I'm going to run a whole video at the end of all, missing and exploited children because I think it needs to be known. And it's going to be people
It
from
does.
New Jersey, New York, etc. If you're a child or adult or, male, woman, I don't care. We need to really focus on our black community getting the justice they
We
need
do.
in order to find our people. We need to find our people, and it's not as much publicity or it being televised enough. And I really want to say I don't know why. So maybe you could tell me a little bit about that or how you feel about it.
I it pains me because again, what makes our children any less important to us than little Susie from Morristown or little Madison from Berkeley Heights, or you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And that seems to be the way it goes. There was a little girl, I'm down in South Jersey,
Hmm.
and there's a little girl named Dulce Alaves. I don't know if you ever heard the story.
No.
She went missing. I want to say it's probably been about 3 or 4 years now. Little Hispanic girl. I think she was like 9 years old. She went missing from a park down here in
Mm.
South Jersey. The mother was sitting in the car while Dulce and her younger brother were playing on a swing set.
Oh.
The little brother comes back to the car and the mother goes, Where's your sister? She's gone. Somebody took her. Somebody took this
That's
little
simple.
girl, and it's
Somebody
been
took
about
them.
4 or 5 years now. And I remember when it first happened, I was, they announced it on the news one morning because, we have like Philadelphia area news down here where I'm at.
Hmm.
So they announced it on the news that one day. And the first thing I said is, you know what? This will be the first time and the last time we hear about this child.
Really?
But
Nothing.
what impressed me was that Fox 29 News down
Hmm.
here, which is the local Fox affiliate,
Hmm.
They beat down this story every day for about a good 2 weeks.
Oh,
Even though they had no new information, they just kept putting it out there. And I was so impressed with that. I was so, I was like, wow, they are really putting this out there.
yeah.
And nowhere else were you hearing about this girl.
Yeah, yeah.
But I was
You
so
weren't in
impressed
another
at Fox
state hearing about
29.
her. That's
Right.
crazy.
Like I
Yeah.
said, you didn't hear about it,
Right, right. That's what I was gonna
right?
say. I was in three different states and I still didn't hear anything
Yeah.
about it. Wow.
You didn't hear
That's
about it.
crazy.
But down here, and they really be down. And unfortunately, to this day, there is nothing new regarding this child. She hasn't been found. No one knows where she is. Nothing's going on. But yeah,
Heartbreaking.
and the thing is that she's if you go on the website for missing and exploited children,
Hmm.
you will see there were so many black and brown children missing
Absolutely. Yeah.
from
Yeah.
this area,
Yeah.
from your area, from my area,
Yeah. Yeah.
that we've
Absolutely.
never heard about.
No. Yeah. I know. It's crazy.
But
It's crazy.
if you look at the children, you look at and again, I do not diminish the importance of a white child going missing, because every baby that goes
No, no,
missing
everybody. Yes,
is
everywhere. I
important.
agree. I agree. We just focus on the black issues that face
Right.
America.
Yeah,
And I
absolutely.
know
So
that the
yeah,
other races do get more publicity than
they
black,
do.
and that's just one of the things that I've noticed. I have so many cases that I watch of, like, ID channel and missing and all of that stuff. And I'm like, why? Why am I just hearing this after watching one episode? And then the parent
Sure.
gets on there and there's, basically crying and saying, how much I tried to get the media involved, how much I reached out to all the news outlets and they said, oh, they're just a runaway, oh, they're just, with a rival gang, or they just with someone, or
Right.
the kid was a troubled child, so it doesn't have as much urgency or importance. And I'm like, that's crazy, because any missing child, as you stated, I don't care the color, the
I
age,
don't care.
they
It's a
go
baby
missing.
that needs to be found.
Another thing that worries me, Joe, with all of the cameras, I know that park. You know how many cameras probably was around, so like that whole entire perimeter of a park,
Yeah.
and they have no information, no one on camera, none of like, it just bothers me. And I'm like, if you run a light, they catch that.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
you know what I mean, certain things is
Yeah.
like, how do we not see what we see? So it's one of the confusing elements when it comes to missing and exploited children and adults. I just don't understand how everything's recorded when it's in the benefit of others. If a murder happens, they on that camera. We got a camera on 16th. Let's pull that camera up.
Oh,
Get that
absolutely.
camera that's outside the store. Get that camera that's outside that building. Get that ring camera from 8 blocks down the road, and they
Red
track the
light
car or
cams, shot
vehicle.
spotters, all
Yeah,
those
and I'm
cameras.
like, so why is it that a person can go missing in 2026 and it go unseen? It makes no sense. The math doesn't math. It just
Yeah.
doesn't math to
Well,
me.
yeah. The one thing I'll say about that is, for instance, and when that case hit up, in the first couple of weeks, they had a person of interest they wanted to talk to,
Hmm.
and they had a photo, and they put the person's photo up because this it was a young Hispanic man. He was in the vicinity of when the child got taken
Mm,
when it happened.
right.
And the unfortunate thing about it is that, you know, the distance from a swing set in the park and a van or vehicle that's waiting could be about 15 to 20 feet.
Right.
Now,
Yeah.
once that child is in that vehicle, they can pull up to the next three red lights. We don't know what's in that
And
vehicle.
put them in another
You
vehicle.
know what I mean? Right.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Transfers.
and that's the thing. And with all, like I said, the cameras, the shot spotters, and this and that. We have more cameras that want to catch people running red lights and speeding than we
Hmm.
do that are in parks and playgrounds where our babies frequent,
Yeah.
where they should be.
Right.
You know,
I agree. Yeah.
and that was always something that I was big. And I'm like, well, why don't we got we got six different cameras at that intersection to stop red light runners and speeders, but we got two cameras in this park.
Yeah.
Why is that? So yeah, that was always something that bugged the hell out of me too. You know.
Yeah, I hate that. I absolutely really hate it.
Mhm.
So if we look at Black men and women combined, like 13 to 14% of the US population account for about 30 to 40% of all missing person cases in 2022. And this is crazy that I pulled up this information. I was doing my research and I only got 2022 and 2023 results. And I was like, we're in 2026. So why does it take 3 years to provide data on missing and exploited children? Is it that hard of a track or record to track or keep? I don't understand how I get these numbers. And I'm like, we're 4 years off. That just puzzled me. So when I look at the numbers, it does tell me that it says 2022, about 97,924 actual Black women and girls are missing. Of the Black children, boys and girls,
Mm-hmm.
make up about 1/3 of the missing children cases. And then it goes into further results from 2023. 563,000 people roughly was reported missing in 2023, but 40% of it is minorities. That's a large number. So when I hear that, I'm
Huge
like,
number.
yeah, and I'm like, that's really large. But to hear that it says thousands of people are reported missing every day in the U.S. And while not every case will get widespread media attention, coverage of white minority victims is far more, of course, popular than the minority children, solely because it focused attention on who their audience is.
Absolutely.
When's the last
Absolutely.
time you watched the news, Joe?
Oh, I watch news every morning.
Me too. But for some unknown reason, they feel that we don't. So they feel like, oh, well, it's not important for them. They don't watch the politics. They don't watch the going ons of the world. They don't watch the news. So they're not our
Yeah.
target audience. We're not going to put their children on the news and put them on display because
Mhm.
one, we're not the popular
Right.
demographic watching their
Right.
shows. And I'm like, when I read that, I was like, it's based on popularity. It's based on your demographic of like whose attention you're catching. I bet you if you start showing Black children and Black men and women that are missing on, your media sites or web news outlets, I bet you would get our eye. I bet you we would watch it more and more. Now, I don't know the age range. I know I'm in my older years, so I'm like, I do watch it. I watch it very much so.
Yeah.
I'm like, I watch the news. We got our phones. We got the TVs. I watch the
Absolutely.
news all the time. I may put something on my earpod and just hear that. It confuses me why they would feel that we're not the targeted audience.
Yeah.
And I'm
And
like,
see,
why?
yeah. And well, see, and you got to remember, broadcast news,
Mhm.
again, is just like anything else you see on television. They need ratings.
Yeah, yeah,
So while, yeah, we're going to report the news, we're going to put things out there. But again, we're going to target an audience that we know is tuning into us.
right.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And again, I know a lot of Black people who yeah, I don't watch the news for what,
Hmm.
you
Yeah.
know. But at the same time, I know white people, Caucasian people who say, "Oh yeah, of course I watch it. I got to go home. I watch the news before I go to bed every night, and I watch it when I wake up in the morning."
Right. Yeah.
So again, just like anything else that garners ratings, whether it's your favorite show or the news, the news is going to say, "Hey, we need to target an audience that watches us."
Right. Yeah.
And
Definitely.
unfortunately, if it's not the urban inner city audience, well, then we're not going to target stories to them
Yeah.
because they don't watch us anyway.
Right.
So why should we target them as an audience?
Yeah.
I know the suburbs are going to watch us. So again, we will broadcast stories that will keep them watching us every day. The news is
Yeah.
informative, but the news is still a business.
Yes. Yes. Very
And,
much
and
so.
that's what we need to understand. So, and the only way we're going to change that is if our demographic makes it a habit to stay informed.
To tune in and
Tune
watch.
in, watch
Yeah.
your local news for a half hour a day. If it's the news in the morning, after you get off work, or before you go to bed, watch the news.
Joe, I swear you got to get out of my notes, Joe. I just had that as my next topic. How can we make change? And that's one of the things that we can make change. Actually start tuning in and watching the news. Watch what's going on in our neighborhoods and what's surrounding us.
Yeah,
Because if I said if we don't watch it, all we'll do is repeat history. And that's why we're not getting the announcements and the news and the
right.
attention because they
Stay
feel that we're not
informed.
their targeted audience. But you're 100% right. I don't know if my 26-year-old, turns on the news. I don't know if anyone in my house outside of myself turns on the news. So that's a very good point. It's true. It's very true.
Stay
Changing the
informed.
narrative.
Yeah, stay
Yeah.
informed.
Yeah.
Make it your business to watch news. You know, it's funny. My grandfather used to always say, and when I was a kid, I never understood it until I got older, which is a lot of things that older people say to us as kids. He would say, and I'm gonna say it just the way he said it. He said, "You know what, man?" He said, the best way to hide things from niggas is put it in writing.
Oh, ouch. Damn. That
He would
hurt
say
because
that.
that's so true. It's so sad that it's true, and I could say that just social media is a visual thing. You know that, like like I know,
Right.
but that's what the eye is. It goes straight to the visual. You
Straight
don't
to
have to
visual.
read a sentence. You can just watch and see a meme or watch a
Sure.
video, and you get the same meaning and understanding. And I think that's why I
Absolutely.
went to watching video, like recording the videos instead of actually posting words, because people will pass that word. They may give you a like, but they pass those words. Those words don't mean nothing.
Sure. Words
It's
don't mean
always
anything.
the visual that
It's
people
the
go back
visual.
to.
And he would
Yeah,
always say, you want to
yeah.
hide things from black people, put it in writing.
That's sad. That's really
But
sad because it's
and
the
it
truth.
is.
It's the sad truth.
And it's the same thing with staying informed. It's the same thing with, like we don't have a lot of print media that's popular now. But
Yeah,
hell, you can pull up NJ.com and you can read the current events of the day. You can
yeah.
read world news. It's
Yep.
there.
It's there.
Everything is
Click of a
there.
button. Everything's at the click
At
of
the
our
click of a
fingers,
button.
right?
Even with, people always talking about, not to digress, but what's going on Capitol Hill. Guess what? Every bill that's sponsored that goes before Congress and Senate, it is right there.
There, right there. In writing, though. In
You can
writing. I
pull it
mean,
up and you can read
paragraphs.
everything
You got to
about
read
it.
paragraphs. And I know because I'll read that stuff. I want to see what's the new
Yes.
thing that they're trying to
But
impose on us. Like, I
exactly.
always watch that and read it. So I'm like, yeah, 100%. But there is a channel that they put it in, I want to say layman terms, more so like
Mhm.
so people, the common people such as ourselves can actually understand exactly what its purpose is and what
Yeah.
the cause and like how it would affect us, positive and negative. So I look at all of that stuff. I look at the visual because I'm sometimes on the go as I'm moving and I want to hear
Mhm.
it. But if I can't sit and actually scroll to read it in that fine print, I'm like, okay,
It's
I'm going to
it's right
listen to
there.
this. Yeah, that's one of the things we have as options. So I know we talked about change. So some of the things we can change is like actually putting ourselves in the focus of what's going on in our community. What else would you
Stay
say is one
informed.
of the things that need to be changed when it comes to missing and exploited children and
I
men
mean,
and women? Because it's
yeah, well, absolutely.
it's
Same
all. I
thing.
mean, it's all of it. Yeah.
Yeah. And and I think, as parents, we need to be a bit more understanding of what's going on in the world as far as because right
Mhm.
now, trafficking and exploiting children is at an all-time high.
Yeah. Yeah.
It really is. And
Yeah.
and I find today that a lot of parents are in this narrative or are in this phase, whereas, they want to do so much to, you know, to be their kid's friend versus their parent.
Yeah. Yeah.
We got to
I
get in
agree.
the habit of telling kids no. I don't care if you're 16. You're not going to a party at Bobby's house on Saturday night when his
Right.
parents are out of
Absolutely.
town. You're not doing
Absolutely.
that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I agree.
Or you got a sister that's 25 years old. Hey, where are you going? Where are you going to be at? Who are you going to be with? I need to
Mhm.
know.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
we've lost that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we need to be more vigilant, especially in our community, because again, look what's happening. We're getting snatched up off the street, and as we've been discussing this whole podcast,
Yes.
no one really cares.
Yeah. No. Right. You're right.
So we have to care. We got to be more vigilant towards our own.
Right. Yeah.
Hey, look, little sis, I'm not trying to be pops, but hey, if you're going out with so and so Saturday night over up in Jersey City, yo, I need to know where you going to be at. What time you going to be there till? What time is the show over? What time
Right.
is the club closed? How you getting home?
Mhm. I
These
agree.
are things
Yeah.
we need to start doing.
You know what I also miss, and I know I'm going to probably go back and sound old school, whatever, but I remember we had actual caring neighbors, and I never forget. I had a lady, Miss Mary. If we had somebody running
Oh,
in and
we
out
all had
that
a Miss
house, she'd be
Mary.
on my neck. She would be
Yep.
on my neck. I would see her, and she'd be like, "I'm gonna tell your mother," and I'm like,
Yeah,
"Don't tell my mother, Miss Mary." So we don't even look out for our community. Like we don't even look out. We don't even advise our youth because our youth was
sure.
no disrespect to any of the generations. I'll say that. No disrespect to any
Mhm.
of the generations, but they're very quick to say, mind your business. Like, you don't
Exactly. Don't worry about what
you're
my
not my
kid is
mother.
doing.
You're not my mother. And I'm like, I said
Yeah.
that as a kid, but there was a difference. Miss Mary didn't care about me saying that to her because she would tell my mother I said that too. Now
And
I'm
you
getting
know
two
your mother was
poppings.
going to dig in your
You hear
ass
me?
for
Two
saying it.
poppings. One for disrespecting Miss Mary, and two for having that boy up in her house. Like, so there's a
Exactly.
difference. And I think if we looked
Exactly.
out for our community and start speaking up when we see things instead of turning a blind eye or picking up our phones to simply record something, I'm like, speak up and say something. Like,
Yeah.
say you see something, say something. But it should be within our right and respect as the elders to say, hey, I don't approve that, or I don't like that, or I see you doing
Yep.
wrong and you should be doing right. But even with the backlash of getting cursed out or told off or whatever the case may
Listen,
be,
yeah,
we're
you
gonna
do
be
it anyway.
I'm looking out for your safety.
You do it
I know
anyway.
kids don't care about safety as much, but that's the
Oh
type
no,
of
of
thing.
course not.
Yeah, that's the thing. So
Yeah.
I'm just curious. I think one of the things that we need is the community. We need to come back as that because it does take a village. And if I don't have
Hmm.
eyes and my mother wasn't home, there was always someone in the perimeter or
Somebody was watching.
yeah, that was watching and
Right.
telling and letting them know, hey, this is what's going on. We've come so far from that. I think we need to bring that back. I think we need to start looking at that. And I know it sounds bad to say a buddy system, but the buddy system used to work. The buddy
Yeah.
system, you don't go nowhere by yourself. You always take somebody with you. And it's so much harder for someone to take two people versus the one. You at least can have the one person that's taken and then have the other person report back, hey, this is what happened. It was this color car, this vehicle, and I was able to see
Hmm.
this. Like,
Yeah.
if it was a man, woman, child, whatever the case may be. But like we don't even have a buddy system. Go to the corner store, you 16 years old, you by yourself, and you just walking.
Yeah.
So I think even getting back to you don't leave the house without somebody, being with you is one of the things that I want to say. So those are a lot of old school things, but they worked back then. And I know, yeah,
It
we had
worked.
missing children
Yes.
back then, but not at the rate that
Not
we
at the
have
rate
it
we do.
today. We had missing children, we had murderers, yes. We used to
Sure.
disappear, but we knew when that porch light came on, you get your tail in the house
Yeah.
and you were accounted for. So, similar to that thing, it's 10 o'clock. Do you know where your children are?
Yeah.
Yes, I
Remember
do
that?
right
You
here because I'm a
remember that?
parent and
Yeah.
I'm gonna check them,
Yep.
So yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, there's a lot of old school things that we need to bring back just to be the focus of, being parents and monitoring our children and making sure if we don't have that, we're not able to monitor, somebody's in place to monitor them or care for them. What else do you think we need, Joe?
And again, and even to piggyback off of that, like that old school mentality. And another thing we need, and my big, what's funny, my biggest obstacle as an investigator,
Mm-hmm.
and I hate to say this, but most of the time it was our own people, and I would hear the words that I hated to hear more than anything else was, I don't want to get involved.
Yeah, because we don't have that snitch mentality, right?
No, I look,
Because the snitch,
I don't want to say, I ain't saying nothing. I ain't talking. Wait a minute. You mean to tell me you saw the last person that this child was with?
Mhm.
Yeah, but I don't look.
Ain't got nothing to do
You
with
know,
me.
we have to stop doing that. As a community, we always want better. We always, cry and complain that we want better in our neighborhoods, we want better in our community. But the second something happens and we come to those same people, I don't want to get it. Only gets better if everyone steps up to make it better.
Joe, I was going to say something to you.
Mhm.
What are the thoughts on this? Black mothers and fathers are so forgiving when something does happen to their children, be it with, the missing or, police brutality, no matter what has happened. They say the Black community is very forgiving when it comes to it. You get your Al
Be
Sharpton
forgiving.
out, got the mother and father on the porch, and they begging for forgiveness, and they forgive the person that hurt their child or whatever the case may be. And I see things like that, and I'm like, do you think that we've come across a little softer because of that forgiveness that we portray when we're in front of the cameras and like, okay, you put on that great face in front of the man and you make sure that put in a stance. Because I'm telling you, if my child goes missing, I'm gonna be like Rambo with a t-shirt tied around my head, and I'm gonna go circle the block
Yeah,
like a
I am not forgiving you.
like
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be as forgiving. I'm not gonna
No, absolutely not.
definitely not gonna do it. We're gonna have like old school where I'm torching the sticks at the top and we walking through the trees like this. Cause to me, like
Yeah.
that's what we need. Like,
We need
I
that
don't want to I
mentality
hate to
back.
see that. I can't stand seeing the mother on the porch crying after the fact and forgiving. I forgive. And I'm like,
Yeah,
why, oh,
no,
woe is
no.
me mentality?
Uh-uh.
Why is it that, oh, woe is me mentality instead of why did you guys let this happen type of thing? And why didn't we
Right.
get it done in a different way? Like instead of that, oh, we
And we
forgive you.
need to
So
get back to that. And we need to start holding people accountable. We
yes,
need to start
yes,
holding these people in higher positions accountable.
I
Because
agree.
again, at the end of the day, I don't want the mayor standing on a soapbox and preaching. No, what are you
Mhm.
doing? What
Yeah,
are
like
you
we already
putting
at the
your foot
funeral
on your
service.
police director's neck and making
Yeah.
him or her get somebody out here to look for these children? You
Yeah.
know, that's what I want to see more of. I
That.
don't want to
Yeah.
see politicians at my doorstep hugging me when I got to bury my child the next day.
Right. That's what I'm like.
No,
It just
I,
throws me off so badly. I'm like, how? How is that happening? Why is that the case in most instances? Yeah.
I need
It's kind
people
of
to be
crazy.
angry like I'm
Yeah.
angry. I want to
Yeah.
see
Yeah.
politicians angry. I
Yeah.
want to see police, higher ups angry.
Yeah.
I
I
want to
agree.
see you emotional. I want to see you cry. I want to see you feel what these parents are feeling. And then maybe you'll start holding people accountable.
Yeah.
And that's what we need.
So I'm going to list a couple of resources at the bottom at the end of this video of who you can contact. Your local police department, of course, is always first and foremost. You need to report a child missing. You heard it from Joe, an ex or a retired officer himself. I keep saying ex. I don't know why I keep saying ex. I know you're
Yeah,
retired.
big difference.
Paid your dues. I know you paid your dues. So I'm like, I don't know why my brain keeps going
Yeah,
X. You're
no,
not an
it's
X,
all
you're a
right.
retired
Yeah.
officer.
Uh,
Just my brain can't comprehend nothing after 6 o'clock. So there we go.
listen, I get it.
So the actual
Yeah.
Black and Missing Foundation, there's actually foundations that support looking for our minority men and women and children. So I'm going to list those as well as a bunch of photos of missing children within New York, New Jersey, Connecticut. You'll see them listed at the bottom of this video. My heart goes out, and I want to say we should continue to search every day diligently to find these children and men and women, and just pray that we can
Yeah.
bring them back home to their loved ones, because that's what really the focus needs to be. Joe, do you have any closing words?
No, just people, be vigilant in your communities,
Yeah.
just start being that old school neighbor. Care about the children in your communities.
Mhm.
Be concerned, you know what I mean? Be there. And just do whatever you feel you can do. If you see something, say something.
Oh man, I hate hearing that.
I
I hear it
know.
all the time on the subway. I'll be like, "Shut up! I'm not saying nothing."
Yeah, right.
But
Right.
if
It's
you
like,
see
no, we
something, you should
gotta.
say something, especially when it
Yeah,
comes to our Black community and our missing children, men, women, and children. So
we have to.
yes, please. Thank you guys so much for listening to our podcast. We really appreciate you. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe if you like it. Subscribe it to it. If you want to, leave a comment, we'd love to hear what your thoughts are. And if you have any other information, every other sites or foundations or anything that support this in these efforts, please post it down there in the comments. Share it as much as possible, because that is our focus, is really to find our people and bring them home. That's all we really need. So thank you guys so much. Have a good one.